the best online chess that I've ever played was probably listening to their music, and that made me it just made me realize that I have a lot to learn, and that I should be patient and not expect everything to sort of come that fast.
Unfortunately, this young man, we'll explain the anal beads thing, but this young man is a very talented player, but does have a history of some shenanigans, correct? And even admitted that he did a little bit of cheating in order to move his rating higher so he could play better players.
Yeah, I mean, he's not admitted to nearly the extent of his cheating, but if you sort of take what chess.com say, then he cheated a bunch online in a certain period of time, partly in tournaments, but mostly in casual games, as he set himself to sort of get himself up the standings and play the best players in the world.
But he is a very good player.
I think he has become a very good player, yeah.
Interesting, okay. So what made you convinced that he was cheating in that particular game? And by what method do you think he could possibly have been doing that?
I think there was a combination of things, though, based on, the chess level that I thought that he had, and that I'd seen from his game, both playing against him, analyzing a little with him, and looking at his other games. There were a lot of stories back then. What I can say was that there were a lot of factors that made me very, very suspicious. And I think ever since then he has become better, but there's still something off, both then and now. It was it's just he doesn't seem to be playing, or it didn't at that point seem to be playing with a particular style. It seemed that he either played kind of or he just more or less played any position very well in certain games. Like, he could just switch from tactical to positional play very easily, and it was it didn't smell good to me. It still doesn't, but to some extent, like, he had his lawsuit. We've all kind of moved a little bit on. I think I don't trust him. A lot of other top players still don't trust him. He certainly doesn't trust me or chess.com or Hikaru or whomever he felt wronged by. Like, if I started cheating, you would never know. The thing is, like, I would get like a move here and there. That's all I need. Or maybe imagine I'm playing a tournament. I just find a system where I get somebody to signal me when there's a critical moment. Like, if there's a moment where a certain move is much better than the others. That's really all I would need to go from being the best to being like practically unbeatable, right? So it really is a scary situation, yeah. But they're very, like, if you're not cheating in a dumb way, there rarely is going to be a smoking gun. Right. And without that smoking gun, it's really hard to catch people. I had a training camp a few years ago with a kid called Alireza Firouzja from. He plays for France now, but he's from Iran originally. I think he was about 14 then, and my chess coach had like recommended that we bring him in because he said that this is the most talented kid out there. So we have this camp where typically everybody has their laptop, and there's a chessboard in the middle where you sort of and you sort of look at your own thing and then some things together on the board, and you throw out ideas, mostly for openings, but also sometimes other little exercises and so on. And this kid, he would have his laptop where he would analyze a certain position, and then he would play games like for money on that same site at the same time, so that he could buy cloud engine time. So he would buy time for that by playing games, like 1 minute games on that server. He would play 5 minute games on another server, and he would analyze with us on the board, and he was still like following everything. Like he had no problems whatsoever just being there. So like it's just that's one way of doing it. Like he basically became one of the best players in the world by just constantly playing chess all the time, and mostly like really quick games. And then you have the current classical world champion from India, Gukesh. Like he doesn't play casual games at all. He just studies his ass off all the time. And he's also like, he's not good at rapid chess. He's not good at blitz. He's not good at other forms. But he has made all his studies about classical chess. He didn't even own like chess software on his computer before he was like 13.
Wow.
And he was a grandmaster.
Wow. At
that time. But it's interesting to see that there are such different ways to develop even these days. I think my favorite probably player of all time is sort of the young Kasparov before he became world champion. The thing is, like, what I find fascinating about that is that he played with a style that was so unique and so dynamic that I know that I could never replicate it. It's just not the way that I play. So that's something I admire a lot. I've been very fortunate about that, being able to study with Garry back in the day, and Anand, who was the world champion before me. Because it's only then when you study, like you talk to them, like you understand like how good they really are and how much they understand. For instance, with Anand, I had a training session in 2008 where we had both played a tournament where I'd done reasonably well, and he had sort of, towards the end, he had mailed it in, but he was preparing for the Classical World Championship. So I think I had 2 days off, and he was living outside Madrid. And so I went to Madrid for a couple of days because the other tournament was in the north of Spain. Then I went to his house, and as soon as like that training camp started, it's like something just switched with him, and he was just so focused. We played a bunch of training games, and from being this guy who seemed completely disinterested in this other tournament, all of a sudden, like, he was crushing me. Like, he had a massive plus score in our games, and it felt like everything we analyzed, he just had a much deeper understanding of the game. It seemed that he was faster tactically and everything, and it made me like appreciate like how good he actually was. Yeah, and that made me it just made me realize that I have a lot to learn, and that I should be patient and not expect everything to sort of come that fast. And like very soon after that, I started working with Garry Kasparov as well, and that made me realize that I know even less. And working with him, it just improved sort of the more dynamic part of my game a lot, and that helped me very much short term. And also it's helped me later because it improved my understanding of the game. I'm not sure if Deep Blue was actually better than Garry, but it started the downfall of us humans when it comes to chess, and it's now been a long time where we just accepted that our computer overlords are just a lot better. Additionally, people watching chess games, like, one problem is that you cannot easily tell, like, it's not like one guy is being punched and the other guy is punching. Like, it takes some skill to see what's going on, but with the help of the engines, like, you could actually have a real-time score all the time, because it tells you who is winning and who is not. So it becomes a lot easier to follow as well. Because honestly, like, most people, when they consume sports, they're mostly interested about who is going to win and who is going to lose. So now at least you can have that factor in chess, that you can see that.
So the kind of computing power that's on your phone, like, can you beat your phone at the highest level?
No, no chance.
Is that crazy? That's so
no
crazy.
Chance. No. I have no chance against my phone. Yeah, for me, I rarely play against engines at all because they just make me feel so stupid and useless. But the thing is, like, after AlphaZero came out in late 2018, there was a period, half a year maybe, early 2019, where you could very clearly see which players have been using these neural networks or knew how to use them, and which players didn't. And my coach, he got into it very quickly, and we got an advantage of basically everybody but that guy who had been using it during the match. And it just made us understand the game a lot better. And that's also when I had maybe my best stretch of chess ever, because I just understood these new things better than others.
Like, I've seen you like show up late to big tournaments where they're like waiting for you and stuff. That's really cool.
Honestly, like, that's me being late is down to a couple of things. First, I hate waiting, but also I'm terrible at planning. So that's why I keep showing up late.
You're terrible at planning. You know how funny that is? It's literally what you do. Better than anybody.
Like, my planning is always based on everything going perfectly and like making a time plan based on that. And if something goes a little bit wrong, then I'm going to be late. And like, something usually goes wrong, or often enough that it becomes a thing. As I said, like, I don't do those things to intimidate my opponents. I'm just
that would be such a mindfuck. Guy shows up 2.5 minutes late and still stomps you.
Yeah.
Bobby Fischer said about chess that I don't believe in psychology. I believe in good moves. Like, I believe in like a little bit of both, but I'm more in his school that I just I think I'm going to make better moves, and I don't need that all those other. What happened was that they did a show, and they have this thing called Spanur, which is like a moisturizer mostly used for animals. But like, this Mr. Pimple Lotion, like, he's obsessed with that one. And somebody apparently stole that from backstage at their concert. And so they didn't know who it was, but they eventually found out, and they made a song about it.
Incredible, the difference between America and Norway, what the rappers are rapping about. There's gang wars and shootings, and in Norway somebody's like, who stole my lotion?
Yeah.
Who stole my lotion?
Yeah. Basically, there's a bunch of verses, like people accusing each other, and then I randomly come in at the very end and solve the mystery. The best online chess that I've ever played was probably listening to their music.